Welcome to the Secret Restaurant Podcast. I will be your host for this journey adjacent, in which you perhaps are traveling or perhaps are just sitting there, listening attentively, as though these are the words of God Himself. But I am not God. I am the lowly servant. I am the lowly servant of literature and your messenger, Nate Hoyle. Have you guys ever played that fuck, marry, kill game? You know what that is. It's like three people. You have to choose one to F, and then choose one to marry, and then choose one to kill. And usually it's just like, the way that I first played it, or usually played it, is people just come up with it for fun. But yesterday, it's Sunday, yesterday was Saturday, I went to this brewery with my pal John, because we bottled first, because we bottled our beer. And then he was like, come out, my wife and some of our friends are getting dinner. And usually, I just stay home for things like that. I didn't want a 6th or 7th or 8th wheel it. I guess it would have to be a odd number. I didn't want a 5th or 7th or 9th wheel it. But he twisted my arm. Is that the right expression? Twist my arm, why don't you? He didn't actually. Guys, okay, I know young people don't really know a lot of expressions that us old farts know. But when someone says, he twisted my arm, or twist my arm, why don't you? It's not, they don't actually twist your arm. I don't know if anyone has actually twisted someone's arm in order to get them to do something. It sounds dangerous to do, like you might inflict harm upon them. Although if he had twisted my arm, I probably wouldn't have held it against him. But he metaphorically did. Do you follow? I think this rambling that I'm doing now is going to make this whole story make sense once I reach the climax of it. Just hang in there, gang. And so, at this brewery, there was like this F, marry, kill card game. So it chose the names for you. And you would just draw 3 cards, and then you'd have to pick them and organize them strategically, seeing which one you would kill, which one you would marry, and which one you would, to put things lightly, F. Is it accurate to say in a social setting that you bomb? Is it accurate to say at a social gathering or party of mostly people you are just meeting, can you bomb comedically? Because I think the answer is yes, and I think that's what happened to me last night. Oh man, I feel like there were like 8 or 9 jokes I said that people just stared at me, and it wasn't just one person; it was like 8 people, dude. That was hilarious. But anyway, so obviously I know John and his wife, and I had met one other person, and then maybe 6 of them I didn't meet, and I'm 32 or whatever, so I'm nearing my grave. But in the minds of some people, but a lot of them were like 26 or younger. And like I said, the cards for this F, marry, kill game, they were chosen for you, and I think that they were printed a while ago, because there were some people that were dead, like Steve Jobs and shit, and they had like one that was a certain actress who was known to be in the spotlight for chaos, and there was a little slight to her being like post breakdown, but I'm not gonna say her name, but she's killing it again. She's doing well again. So obviously the card is like seeing her as like 5-10 years ago, when everyone was making fun of her. But yeah, so like I said, a lot of people were younger than me by at least 6 years. Like they were 26 or something. And I was like profoundly shocked at how many times they had to Google who people were. Like they didn't know who Amy Winehouse was. They didn't know who Paris Hilton was. But that's just like the 2 that I remember. It felt like this game that didn't come out that long ago. These people who I mean, I know 6 years is kind of a long time, but like in the grand scheme of how long people live, it's not that long a time. I was shocked how little the cards withstood time in that so many of them people wouldn't know. I didn't know some. I didn't know the name of the girl from Sex and the City, Sarah Jessica Parker. I had to Google that one. Other stuff too. But yeah, so then people were not knowing who everyone was so much, especially things like Paris Hilton, that I started making fun of them, but then no one thought it was funny. I can understand, like, I feel like millennials, like myself, put so much importance on celebrities that when people don't know someone that was, like, hugely household name, it's easy to just be like, you don't fucking know who that is. But being the person that I am, once I said it once and nobody laughed or they seemed annoyed, then all I could do was just keep on reiterating. And then I went home and I was like, why the fuck was I doing that? Like, you guys don't fucking know who that is? It's like an old crabby man, dude. I should have just dropped it. But then when, after we were leaving, I was like kind of saying the same thing to John. He was like, nah, dude, people don't get your sense of humor. I was just sitting there laughing the whole time. So, because I never met some of these people. But I feel like a lot of times, there's been a lot of instances like that where like I feel like I go somewhere where I'm meeting friends of friends and I immediately feel alienated. That happens a lot. But then other times I'll meet people and like click with them immediately. I just wish that I didn't have that agitation be such a huge part of my personality. Like once a joke doesn't work, then they slowly become more agitated, but with the same like humor behind it. Instead, I should just go silent. I should just sit patiently and wait for someone to ask me something slightly personal that I can discuss in an intelligent manner. Oh yeah, I think one dude he filmed me for a second, or I couldn't tell. He kept holding up his phone in a way I couldn't tell if he was looking at it or filming stuff, which is probably the point. But that was pretty flattering. Made me feel like Justin Bieber. Am I right? I'm not sure about that. That was weird though. I think that was like okay, I don't know you guys. I think that was that moment. Like, I see how it is. If it was someone I had known a lot, maybe he wasn't, but it pretty much seemed like he was. And then I fell silent. Strategically silent. It's like 2 days later, 3 days later, and I don't really care about what I was talking about before all this that I talked about on Sunday. And so I guess the message here to all you young people out there who need me to explain things, for example, who dead celebrities are, that you never really had any reason to hear, unless your parents showed you them. Let me explain to you this. Time heals all wounds. And if time doesn't heal all wounds, well, you're just going to have to figure out how to move forward with the wounds still there. Today is August 20th, and baseball has been a roller coaster of emotion for both teams, both Chicago-based teams. Man, the Cubs, they were bumming me out, and their all-stars are not playing well. I don't know how you define which ones are all-stars and which ones aren't. But I will say I've been very impressed with Michael Busch, the first baseman, and Matt Shaw. Like I said, man, I don't know if he's a true rookie or if he just was brought up again after already being in the league, but he's one of the most hot streak players on the team right now. And if you remember, I was complaining about the Brewers. The Cubs have a 5-game series against them, and right now they are up 2-1 after a doubleheader yesterday where they won both games. And that just proves my point, my past point, things can change in a day, really. Things can change building up to one single day where suddenly you are up or suddenly you are down. And you're just going to have to live with it either way. Speaking of being up and down, I had a great time talking with Alex Benedict on Sunday. And he inspired me actually to see if I could send out some applications to printing places, print shops, print presses. And it's kind of, I already had it on my mind because I already print stuff on my own. I think the thing that's been holding me back, no pun intended, is my back. My back is holding me back. Dude, I was watching a video of myself that you could see my whole posture. It's normal, but I definitely have a hump back, dude. What the fuck? How did that happen? Is that from reading or is that just from my spinal distress? But anyway, I was kind of worried about, getting a manual labor job because literally, and I've worked plenty. Don't get it wrong. I've worked maintenance jobs. The way that I hurt my back both times was at restaurants. And so I've worked manual jobs, and then it got to the point that I don't think I can do them anymore. Otherwise, within a matter of days, I would just be hurt again. Specifically with like bending. I can lift stuff if my back stays straight, but I can't really bend. Like, for example, I worked at a cleaning company. I don't think I could go ask those people for that job again because all of the bending, cleaning, weird movements, within a matter of a day or two, I would be back in my bad position of spinal, herniation. Spinal herniation. But after talking with Alex, I applied to some places. Excuse me. I applied to some places that I felt like it wasn't huge presses. It was more like a print shop stuff. And I have an interview on Friday with one I'm not going to say unless I get it. And maybe won't ever say it all. To keep it mysterious. Because they deep down are the competitor from my desk printer. That I just have two printers. But it's been a long time coming for me to try and finally do that more legitimately. Because everything I know I just did myself and taught myself. From formatting to binding to printing and whatnot. So it'd be cool to do one that's actually legit, that someone that's smarter than you guides you or whatever. I just thought I'd share that with you because, you're just sitting there listening to me and it's kind of awkward. Eventually I'm going to run out of things to say if you're just sitting there and not talking back. I'm not gonna lie. So my buddy Paul and I think we're gonna write a little script today. Because we had started one and then it was like, this is too weird. I'm not gonna say what it was about, but it was really weird. And today I think we're gonna go back to the drawing board and write something that probably will make us rich. So I'll keep you posted on that. Would you guys rather me share when we're done with the script, or would you rather me share when it has made us rich? Because it's not going to be both. It's going to be one or the other. Just let me know in the comments. What else? It was inspiring talking to Alex about how much open mic stuff he's doing. So that, yeah, dude. I know there are some here, and it was cool to hear in Iowa, some open mics in Iowa and Illinois. I know there's one over on the Illinois side of this coffee shop, but yeah, I don't know. Probably just need to go do it. With my backpack full of zines. And afterwards, people will come up to me and they say, wow, that was really great, man. You know who you remind me of? And then they usually say something like Mitch Hedberg. and I say, thanks, man. That's pretty cool. That actually happened at least 3 times. You know who you remind me of? I don't think I haven't read anything in over a year and a half. I need to just go do it, man. Instead of being crazy and thinking that people don't want me there, or that maybe they don't want me there. Maybe they see me just after I kill it, people laughing, people just amazed that poetry can be so great. They're like sitting there, they're like, wow, man, I didn't realize that poetry could be that good. And then I just step down with my backpack full of zines, and they're like, man, give me one of those. And then meanwhile, all the other poets are sitting and sneering, and their faces turning red with anger, knowing that they have some work to do. Meanwhile, I just go home and sit there for a year and a half. That actually reminds me, I did share a poem on Instagram. And you know what? Just like the last time, I think I'm going to share them here too. So buckle up. This one's called Law School. Hey, gang. It's your favorite heterosexual role model, running for my life, while my politically correct editor chases close behind me with scissors in one hand and a jewel-encrusted dagger in the other. I promise that I cannot tell a lie. Every lie that I tell will come true in the future, like some backwards granted wish. You can't blame God if you are able to blame yourself in any way. I point 2 fingers to the sky and cry, "You're not going to regret this, dude. I promise." Then I drop my poetry manuscript, falling backwards off the stage. All my pages fan outward into the crowd like magic carpets. A bubbly little rainbow stretches backwards across my youth. Wait, why are you crying? Why aren't they tears of joy? You know what's funny about reading poetry? Because it's not really, I think I talked about this, but it's not really supposed to be people are looking to laugh. People laugh at poetry all the time, but and then sometimes they don't, and they're not supposed to. But one thing I found interesting with mine, but also with other people, is like usually if you read poems and there's like funny stuff, it's usually like 2 or 3 people laugh first, and then slowly by the end of it, more people are laughing as well. It's interesting. It's like first you realize that it's funny, and then as time goes on, then you start to catch on to the humor. And that's sort of why I should be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in literature. So this is my application. I'm trying to think of the art stuff that I could talk about, because I did go full on nostalgia trip. So I think this is an artist that's pretty underrated, and I think it's not exactly the most accessible art. And so maybe that's why, and it's kind of regional, where people are really big fans of him. So there's a Twin Cities rapper who has unfortunately passed away much too young in 2010 at the age of 28, but his rap name was Idea, spelled Eyedea. And then his real name is Mike Larson. But he was up and coming, kind of a prodigy, very young, battle rapper, and then went on to be like a studio rapper too. And he has just like a huge body of work that he created in those like 15 years. I had talked about the rap group Atmosphere and their Rhymesayers label, so that's actually where he was signed as Rhymesayers, and also was a Twin Cities artist, which is obviously the correlation is obvious. But so I went back and I had 3 of his vinyl records already. And so over the weekend, I was just listening to them. I listened to all of them a couple times, and then I ordered the one that I didn't have, and that came in the mail yesterday. But on top of that, I found out that you can actually buy some zines that I believe that it is his mother is putting together zines of his work, because I guess I read on Wikipedia or somewhere that he has like thousands of journals of poetry and whatnot throughout his life. Journals as in notebooks. And he was also known for being incredibly off top a lot too. Like you can watch videos of him freestyling, no plan, just going in freestyling off top, and he could go for like forever, just rapping off the top of his head. His style is very frantic and wordy, and then also brilliant, but also very cryptic and not really what you'd expect from rap music. I mean, there's a lot of his off top stuff, or some of his stuff. It's obviously battle rap background, where it's so to speak, dissing competitors and talking about being the greatest and all that. But then there's also a layer to his work that's very cryptic and psychological and experimental. I think if you were to try and listen to him, for me anyway, especially because the albums were released 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, the sound, it sounds like it was made in the time it was made. And his voice is very sharp and frantic. And so you kind of do need to listen to the songs and the albums more than once. But then once you listen to it a few times, you start to notice what he's doing, and then you start to catch lyrics that you didn't hear before and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I think that's one of the catch-22s of art, honestly. Like, things that you don't understand right away, it's hard to get over the hump of, like, first getting into it, and then once you get into it, then there's so many more layers to it that you can keep on discovering within it. But obviously it's much easier just to not put the effort in. My stomach's growling. But I think even, dude, Kendrick Lamar, who is one of the highest streamed rappers of all time, like, I've been listening to him since 2011 or so. He went through the same problems. Even when the big showdown a year and a half ago was going on, like, people continually, whenever you go on his videos, people be like, I hate his voice. I don't get it. It's too wordy. It's too cryptic. Blah, blah, blah. And now, a year and a half later, if you go on any comment section, he's the greatest. If you go on any comment section of other rappers, people are talking about Kendrick Lamar, talking about he changed rap and he's improving rap when he doesn't even have anything to do with the video at hand. It's a tough thing because, you know, if an artist is really good or if an artist is really talented, anyone can hear what's popular and emulate it. Like, anyone can do that. And so the choices that you make in order to have your own self being a piece of art, it's a risk to be yourself. The sliding scale of how much you want to be original or how much you want to be yourself, the risk increases the more you want to put your own authentic ideas within something. And I think it's a hard thing artists are faced with all the time. And I think that's why there are so many artists that, like, die without recognition. And then they get recognized later. Or they, quote unquote, sell out. Or they struggle for so many years. It's because it's something that's like a raw, unfiltered thing, such as this idea artist, who I think he is pure, raw, unfiltered poetry. Like, he does off-top poetry. Or he does, like, unfiltered kind of songwriting. An artist like that is much, much harder for people to put the time in. And it's much harder to, like, get people to put the time in. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the zines, I've looked at them a little bit. One of them is sort of just scans of notebooks of, like, more his later stuff, lyrics and poems and stuff. And then the other one I got, it seems like it goes back further to, like, kind of more his early writing of even when he was a kid and stuff. And there's a few more on there. I'm not sure if I'll get more, but it was cool to see that that sort of zine was being put out. And sort of the nature of his craft was like something anti-establishment, anti-corporation, anti-going through the business, and more just like an unfiltered expression that doesn't need to be tied down by a label or a major label, because Rhymesayers is an independent label. I actually need to go, but I don't know if I made myself clear, whatever. But, and then, yeah, just to reiterate, that Rhymesayers label, it's a fully independent label, and he's a Minnesota artist, and you could tell just from, I mean, I haven't met anyone at the Rhymesayers thing or whatever, but you could tell that they gave him a platform for that sort of expression too. And I think they were friends, and they've written songs about his unfortunate passing and stuff. And yeah, it's just interesting. Think about platform, think about exposure. Because back then it was about like tape trading too. We're talking about 2001, 2003, and performance and festivals, and no internet, so to speak. So giving someone a platform and then an opportunity to be as free as that, first of all, was a risk of the label, and then also it was a risk of the artist. And now, 25 years later, 20 years later, 15 years later, the work is still getting studied, and it's still getting discovered. I think he's probably most famous in the Twin Cities, but I do wish that more people would learn about his work and research his work and listen to his work. That is all I got today. I'll talk to you guys soon enough. Sooner than you would like. Sooner than you think, sooner than you'd expect, sooner than you'd prefer. I will be back on the internet.